Right, well, unfortunately, Maine is really no different. We're still trying to find an alternative for some celebrations. Some cities and towns have postponed fireworks as of now because of that rain.
Yeah, we actually did get a report that Old Orchard Beach has 6 inches of standing water.
Wow.
So that could definitely have some impacts on some of the holiday celebrations. And even on the radar, it shows other areas kind of having storms just popping up all throughout the afternoon. And we're going to see those continue as the surface continues to heat up over the next couple of hours. So you can see here along the radar that we have, especially inland is where we have a lot of those storms, and there are certain areas where we've actually have some flash flood warnings as well, particularly in some of the counties in New Hampshire, Carroll County, as where we're going to have these effects from a lot of rainfall coming down in a relatively short period of time. For example, just north of Wakefield, there's an area that received over 3.5 inches of rain from the storms that we've seen today. And the area, having already had some rain over the past couple of days, really makes that soil very saturated and much more prone to flooding. Across the board, we do have a lot of flash flood warnings in New Hampshire, flash flood advisories and flood advisories as well. So you do especially want to keep an eye out for any flooded roads, and if you're having any 4th of July celebrations, be sure you have some alternatives if there is some areas that are pretty wet. In terms of temperature, most places in the middle 70s. We do have a couple of places in the mid to upper 80s, especially as we get inland farther away from the coast. So that is a little bit nicer, and it a little bit feels more like summer, especially because of how humid it is. There's a lot of moisture in the air, which is why we've had so much rain over the past couple of days, and it really makes it feel muggy outside as well. So as we get into the overnight hours tonight, the areas that are still going to have fireworks, it is going to be mostly dry. We could have a couple of storms inland as we go into the overnight hours, and some of those low clouds may hinder firework viewing a little bit, but overall in most places it is going to be pretty dry. And then as we get into the day tomorrow, it'll be mostly clear, especially in northern and western Maine. We aren't going to have as much showers, but as we get into the afternoon, since it is so hot and humid because of that air mass, we could have some thunderstorms and other showers kind of pop up due to daytime heating later in the afternoon. So you want to keep an eye out for those. And then as we go into Thursday, again, it'll be a relatively dry day with the exception of some of those storms. Now, in terms of fireworks for tonight, it is going to be mostly cloudy in some places. Again, just a couple of showers possible. If you're going to be out on the water, seas of 3 feet, and the water is 61. And in terms of 7-day forecast, it is going to be hot and humid as we go into the next couple of days, which is why we could see some of those thunderstorms over the next couple of days. And then we are going to have a ridge of high pressure move in for Thursday. So that's going to be remaining mostly dry, but again, a lot of humidity really could have some of those storms pop up in the afternoon, so it won't be totally dry. And then we're going to have yet another system move in for the weekend, and that is going to cause yet more rain to move into the area as we go into the weekend and into next week as well, with temperatures dropping to most places in the upper 60s, a little bit warmer, possibly inland, but it's going to be chilly for summertime, humid and rainy as we go into next week. So overall, we have a little bit of a reprieve. Fireworks won't be bad in all places, but again, if there's any flash flooding, you'll want to watch out for that. So July so far not looking much drier than June.
So enjoy the next 2 days.
Exactly.
All right, Dana, thank you.